So back in November, this gem of a Facebook Marketplace ad popped up. Landscape trailer, $400, right across state lines. Could not pass it up. You can see the description there. And you can see it on my trailer there.
And a trailer. With registration. There's no play in the axles. Bearings are good. Tube doesn't look rotted or bent. Definitely scaly down here, but really can't complain for a little itty bitty trailer. And we got a spare tire too.
Guy included a couple spare tires, and we ended up getting a snowblower with the mix too. Some of you might know I'm working on restoring an old Chevelle. This is the engine that's going in it. And there's valve covers that just came in the other day. And while we were out there, figured might as well get the truck washed too.
That's a little bit better.
It was a pretty messy winter. So we got the thing back home, started tearing it apart.
We're about to head to the car wash. Ancient 78. What do you think? Make this thing less disgusting? That's not even using any, hand scrubbing. That looks like it's gonna work out great. I'm thinking a little amber light on the front corner. If I put it here, we'll probably break off, just because I have them. And then we'll do one of these strips up here on either side. Then we'll probably do one back corner. Then we'll do one, cut it in half up here, maybe down there. And then the same thing on the other sides. Maybe even on the back of the fenders, who knows? But we're gonna get this thing scrubbed because this power wash only did so much. And then I had to drive it back up a dirt road to get it here. My goal is gonna be to jack this thing up, put it on jack stands away from the house. We'll spray it down, let it dry in the sun, and then I'm going to hit it with a little grinding wheel and get some of this old crappy paint off, and then we'll shoot some primer and shoot some paint. And in the meantime, I'm probably going to see about getting some bearings packed too. Let's get to it. All right, we're gonna get these wired up. I went ahead and ran the wires underneath. My goal was to run it through the tongue. Let's see, through the tongue and then skate the side and come back, but there's already a little loop set up, so I just went over the axle. It's just hanging in there. I'm gonna get some more little drill-in tabs to the underside, little plastic snaps that'll keep those wires from dangling and getting caught on stuff, because there's little to no ground clearance on this thing. But yeah, the lights are wired up. Unfortunately, these Chinese lights, normally the ground wires, got this loop on it that's big enough to go back over the stud that they give you on the back side of the light, so you can just ground it in between on these brackets. But I guess I'll either cut this connection off and put a larger one if I have one, or just zing a self-tapper into somewhere here and ground it out there. But what we're gonna do next is I just washed all the crap off. I'm gonna take the Craigslist approach on this one and just shoot some black paint on this. I'm gonna scuff it up a little bit, but it's not really worth the time. I'd rather just recoat it and go from there. All right, got some rust stop. See how this goes. All right, it's a new day, working on the trailer. I got it taped off and got a blanket down. Been shooting some black paint on it. What I've done is I just popped this little cap off of here. I just used a rubber mallet and a screwdriver and just popped this off. And I took an adjustable and I took this nut off. Let's see what we got going on here with these bearings. I'll set you guys up on the tripod. Alright, so we've got front bearing and washer right here. And whoo, that is stinky. And we got a seal and a rear bearing. And I think it's time for some replacement. Alright, so I've got a section of the bench cleaned off. So this is the little cap we took off. Then we pulled the cotter pin out. This is the nut that was obviously, I think the way you do it is you tighten it by hand and then you do another quarter turn, usually the way those work, but we'll check to see what our manufacturer's specifications call for. This is the washer we pulled off. Obviously all these parts need to be cleaned. I'm just taking this apart in the orientation in which I found it, so I know how to put it back together. So here's what we got for the outside bearing. It's not horrible, but it's pretty bad. Obviously, it's you could repack these, but at this point, why would you? So that bearing sits in this little race here. Believe it or not, sometimes you can replace these races as well. This one feels buttery smooth because the bearing was still good. Sometimes it's even more cost effective to just buy a whole new hub. I think it's Dexter. They make hubs that you can get, you measure this distance and this size and your stud spacing, and you can basically buy these for like $50 a piece, and you don't have to do any of this bullshit I'm doing right now. But I'm gonna grab my seal puller and we'll pop this seal out and then we'll pull the bearing out. All right. I can do this without stabbing myself in the face. Might have to go over to the vise. Let's do that. All right, so I was able to get this under the lip and pop this bearing, pop this seal out. We'll keep this, we'll bring it with us. And the other bearing, which is in pretty rough shape. Obviously there's still grease in there, which is a good sign, but if you want to do this like a smart person, you can use gloves. But anyways, we're gonna go down to the hardware store and we're gonna bring this bearing, which these might be exactly the same. Wouldn't that be cool? Neat. We'll bring those, and we'll bring this seal with us as well, and we'll clean this all out with brake clean, and we'll throw some bearings in. I've already cleaned off the shaft here and just kind of inspected it. There's some signs of water intrusion for sure, but yeah, we'll grease all these surfaces up. I cleaned out these threads where the nut goes on with a little wire brush, but yeah, we'll get everything up clean, nice and good, and then we'll shoot some paint in the last few spots that we haven't gotten any paint after this is all wrapped up, and we'll do the other side. All right, so I got myself some new SKF bearings. I'm going to break this apart just so you guys can see the serial number that work for me in just a second. It came with new races. The ones I had in here were almost completely perfect, so I didn't even want to bother. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it is what it is. So what you see now is the back side of the hub. I have since reinstalled a new bearing to replace one of these old ones. I tried it on the hub. I tried it on the shaft, the knuckle, whatever you want to call that down there. And these new bearings fit really well. They fit in the race great. So I greased the inside of the race, put a whole bunch of grease for it to eat, which is the terminology I was always taught. I'm using red and tacky grease by Lucas. Another thing I've done is the seals that I was given, which are also SKF, are a little bit too big. The inside diameter is a little bit too small for my liking. They sit on the shaft well, but I didn't want the seal to be in the way. Hi, I'll be in 1 sec. I didn't want the seal to be keeping the bearing from being the piece that meets the back of the shaft, if you will. And the inside diameter of this sits right on the outside of this lip here. So I actually tried the seal, and I like the way that old seal fits better, and it wasn't damaged. So I'm going to reuse the old seal because it's perfect. So what I did is I repacked the seal before I installed it. I'll put a video link in the description to a video that I used to learn how to pack bearings properly. I'm not going to waste your time, but what I am going to do is, now that I've got everything all greased up, I'm going to slide this shaft, maybe. That's tough. So I went ahead and tucked that hub right on where it needs to be. It's buttery smooth, and everything's all greased up, looking good. I'm going to jam some more grease inside there, just to give it some more to eat and keep moisture intrusion out, and we will reinstall the new bearing on the outside, and we'll be back in business. These are SKF brand. There's the serial number for you. Alright, so I went ahead, I reinstalled the hub, and I had bearings all packed, seal was installed, everything was tightened up, and I rotated it, and I felt a little bit of resistance indicating that the race had some wear to it. So I inspected a little bit further, and the inside race is a little bit more chewed up than I thought it was. So I actually opted to disassemble the whole thing, and I'm gonna learn how to pound some new races in. So tomorrow's a new day, and we'll get through that together. So I was just really excited because I took this hub off, and the inner race on the passenger side was like brand new. The bearing I pulled out is brand new. Looked really, really, really good. I was like, this is awesome. And then that is the inner race with no needle bearings, and they're all completely seized and cooked and missing a needle. Oh God. Oh, I thought I was gonna get away with murder. Not even, oh, there it is. Not even have to replace the inner bearings. I could just repack the inner one and the outer one on this side and put a new seal in there, but nope. Gotta do it the right way. All right, so we're back. We've got the driver's side hub reassembled. I haven't yet torqued it and put the the cotter pin through. Now we got a little bit more involved here. I pulled the bearing apart as you guys just saw, and this is what the inner race. This is what the inner race looks like. I don't know if you can hear this, but it's rough. Listen to this. You guys can feel how buttery smooth that sucker is. So that's the half of the bearing that came out of there. And needless to say, this is the hub. I did cut a slice, not damaging anything that matters, out of this, what is this called? Race, for two reasons. One of which was to get this out. So what I did is I flipped this over. I put it in my little makeshift setup here. And I took a piece of square stock and I put it in like this, and pounded it through, pounded it through, pounded it through, pounded it through, pounded it through. And I had some dull edges, so I actually cleaned them up with the grinder, and it caught the edge of that lip of that, race perfectly. Pounded that thing straight out. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grease this race back up. I need bigger gloves, can you tell? And then I'm going to use the one that I purposely cut to reinstall it. So I'm going to pound the seat, pound the race in using my driver set, and I'll be able to seat this race back in perfectly, and then in theory be able to get this back out because it's not stuck in there without damaging this one. So let's do that. All right, so we've got a hub. What we're gonna do now is tell scary stories. Now we're gonna take some of this here grease, flip this bearing over without cutting my gloves or my fingers or both. Reinstall some grease here. And we're gonna put a little bit of grease on this here, whatchamacallit, race. I don't know why I can't remember that word. And drop that thing in there. And then we'll take a rubber mallet, which is gone. Might have to heat this up, and I think that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna put this sucker in the freezer. Maybe not, maybe, yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, freezer it is. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put our race in the freezer, and we're gonna heat up this piece, but that will be a task for another day. All right, so it turns out that this one was packaged improperly. So this, according to the calipers and the old bearing that I brought with me, should be the correct one. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this, well, repack this bearing into the driver's side, passenger side with the new race, and jam it all back together and roll this trailer outside, shoot one more can of paint on the back of this here rusty area right there, and a little bit underneath with some rust reformer, and this trailer should be in pretty good shape. The $1 million question is, do I do another reflective tape right there? I'm definitely going to do one up here, maybe down here along that strip. Haven't decided exactly where yet. But is it too much overkill? That's it. That's all she wrote. Trailer's complete. Posted it up for sale. What did we do? We got a new wheel and tire. Got ourselves a spare mount. Painted the frame. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Way better than it was. We got reflective tape. Registration. We got brand new wiring and trailer lights, and axle bearings inside and outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and chalk this up as a success. Leave it in the comments what you think it is worth. I'm interested to hear if I'm on the high end or on the low end. And thanks for watching. See you on the next one.